Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, I want to share with you what one of the fathers are sharing. Maddie Mogen's dad has spoke up, and he is sharing some stuff that is leading to for me to believe that they're on somebody's trail here. So let's go ahead and dive into it, why don't we, and share any updates we have. One of the victims, Maddie Mogen, her grieving dad, is claiming that her killer made a mistake at the scene, which will lead to the capture of that person. And this quadruple incident was one of the worst shocking incidents the world has followed. And it's literally receiving national coverage on every level. This is one of the most attention grabbing headlines you can find is the University of Idaho students who were savagely killed on November 13th in the early morning hours. Now, Idaho victim Maddie Mogen's grieving dad, he says that he is convinced that the killer made a mistake at the crime scene that will lead to their capture. But he also shares that he is surprised that he is still waiting for answers, as many of us are still surprised, because unless there's a professional that has done this, we should at least know a little more. Mr. Ben Mogen, he says, from the beginning, I've known that people don't get away with these things these days. That's what he shared as the case reaches its 6-week mark. Yesterday was Christmas. That was 6 weeks since November 13th. And he shares that there's too many things that you can get caught up on, like DNA and videos everywhere. This isn't something that people get away with that goes unsolved. And that's been a lot of our take on this whole incident, right? Like, how is someone still not caught, or any persons of interest on the radar that is being shared with us? Personally, I do believe they have someone in their realm, in their thoughts, in their pinpoint, whenever they do the pin stuff behind them, that they're following up with all the pictures leading to this and that. I truly believe they do have someone on their target. That is my thought on this. Who that is, I have no clue. I have someone in my mind. You probably have someone in your mind. I will respectfully not throw who I think it's out there, but I'm going to tell you who I don't think, and we'll dive into that in a second. But Maddie, along with her best friend, Kaylee Gonsalves, they have been friends since the longest time, since they were children, along with their roommate, Xana Canoodle, and Canoodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin. They were all stabbed to death in their off-campus home located near the University of Idaho campus, where a lot of people live off campus who go to the university or they teach at the university. And this happened, as I mentioned, in the very early hours of November 13th. And the day of his daughter's vigil, Mogen said, Mr. Ben Mogen, he said that investigators spent 3 hours talking with him. He expressed gratitude for all they have done so far, but still has so many unanswered questions as his daughter's killer or killers remain unaccounted for. And he said, there were so many questions that I figured would be answered, and we are still waiting. As many of us in the community, many of us across the nation, we as well are wondering, what is going on? We want justice for the Idaho 4. And the grieving dad said that one of the lead investigators stays in constant contact with him. He said the frequent updates is something he appreciates, particularly with all the online speculation, gossip, and misinformation that has emerged that he said is hurtful. And as we also shared, Gonsalves's family has been targeted by online people. For what reason? I don't really know what messages have been sent. My guess is because Steven is upset. He has no problem going into the media and sharing how upset he is. But I think that has led some to put their own theories around the family. I disagree with that. I personally don't think that their family has anything. They're grieving families. And hey, I've been a follower of true crime stories since I was in college 20 plus years ago. And so I know why some may lead to it. But maybe they're newer to this and they're automatically saying, well, I've heard so many stories about the family having something, so let me point fingers. I'm not about that. I'm more, hey, if I have a finger that I'm going to point, I'm not going to point it on a video. And just because you heard someone's already been slapped with a lawsuit for pointing the finger. And so you got to be careful out there. But Mr. Mogen, he's like, it's hard for me to read all of these articles. I can get all my news about it right from there, the investigators. And I don't have to try and drudge through all this misinformation. If he's at all in the Facebook groups, he's probably pretty on fire about some of the theories these people come up with. And he also spoke of his gratitude that investigators are able to tap into resources from across the country, especially the FBI, and that they are working round the clock, including the Christmas holidays into the New Year's holidays. He believes that the investigators are doing all they can to solve this and to find those responsible so he can get justice for his daughter, Maddie Mogen, who he affectionately referred to, along with a lot of her friends, Maddie Mogen. He says, I have to just know that they know what they're doing. And if they don't, then they know someone that does. And as Mr. Gonsalves and his attorney has shared that the lead investigator is only been doing this for 2 years, and they question how valuable that can be. But the distraught Mr. Ben Mogen, he said that he is trying to get through each day. This is the first Christmas without Maddie for their close-knit family. Now, a memorial service, he said, has been planned to remember his daughter he described as someone who inspired him. And Ben, he says, I am so proud to be able to say that she was my daughter and what she was doing with her life and where she was headed. She was living the life that she deserved. And this little Maddie Mogen, when she was a very small young child. And she was in this picture, this was 2003. She was 2 years old, dressed up in Christmas clothes. And you can see Madison and Kaylee here as young, what I believe to be like teenagers, very young. They have been friends since grade school, and they have been with each other through thick and thin, and allegedly was also killed in the bed together. We don't know if maybe one of the girls ran to the room, or we don't really know all of what caused them to end up in that bed together. We don't know if they fell asleep that night together, or we don't really know all the logistics around this. All we can do is get our bits of pieces from the law enforcement and share when we know. But as I've been sharing, and I thought I would continue sharing about all the people pointing to Jack DeCourt. Now, Jack is the ex-boyfriend of the Idaho student, Kaylee Gonsalves, and this is where he's heartbroken, and it's finally been shared for the first time, basically what he's feeling like. And so the ex-boyfriend of the victim, Kaylee Gonsalves, who broke up with her boyfriend of 5 years, Jack, just 3 weeks before this quadruple incident, which has baffled police. And Jack Dukor was ruled out by police soon after the November 13th incident, but has been dogged by ridiculous conspiracies. That's what his aunt, Brooke Miller, said. She added, he's not only lost the love of his life, and what we all thought, and he probably thought as well, would be his future wife, get married and have kids and all of that. Miller told the New York Post half of America thinks he could be responsible for the killings. That's what she said. And that's what he's upset about. Half of America is pointing at him. This is exactly why I've been kind of defending him, because we don't even have enough information. You cannot just hear, even after I've continued to do videos around this about her family being 1,000% behind him and sharing. I get it. I'm not even faulting the people who are following this, who are kind of pointing him. What I am faulting is how open you guys are about pointing the finger at him. I get it. You might have a suspect in the back of your mind, but to blatantly go on social media, comment on my channel, how in your mind it's so obvious. If it was that obvious, wouldn't he already be arrested? I get it. 6 weeks has passed since Gonsalves and the fellow University of Idaho students, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, were all stabbed in the bed inside the 3-story off campus, but cops have quickly ruled him out. And they probably even talked to him a second time. They just can't share all that information with us. They just can't. And so cops, they have so far discerned that the slayings occurred between 3 and 4 in the morning, and not much else has been divulged to us. And then we find out that they're looking for the white car. Moscow Police Chief James Fry, who oversees this small little city of 25,000 Moscow residents, he said that he has no clue who or where the killer is, and he himself has faced a lot of criticism. But Miss Miller said Dukor, who is a mechanical engineering major at the university, was obviously sad about the breakup, but the couple were still friends. She said Gonsalves was planning on moving away and the split was amicable. That's what his aunt is saying. And days after murder, it did emerge that Gonsalves and Mogen, that they called Jack at least 7 times shortly before their deaths, in the very early hours of the morning. Knowing that he received a lot of unanswered phone calls because he didn't answer them, knowing that 3 weeks before they broke up, I think those are a couple of the reasons why so many people are pointing to them. But let's be real. That's not enough to consider someone guilty. That's not enough at all. Come on. If you've been following true crime stories, you know you need a little more than just that. Okay? If they hadn't even seen each other for 3 weeks, would his DNA still be at the crime scene? Right? Because that would definitely tie him there. Because if they broke up 3 weeks ago, we don't know if they've not seen each other for 3 weeks. We don't know all that. Let me know in the comments if you know any of that. But would his DNA be at the crime scene if he hadn't seen her or been into that home for 3 weeks? Because if it is in the crime scene, he should definitely be looked at harder. We don't know that. So how can people point fingers to him? That's my thought process in the matter there. Now, Steve and Christy Gonsalves, this is Kaylee's parents, they have said that they stand by Jack 1,000%, which is what I shared a few days ago. Miller, the aunt, she dismissed speculation online that her nephew committed these heinous crimes as ridiculous conspiracies. I agree with you, Aunt Miller. Adding that we all know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's no way that Jack would ever do anything like that to anybody. Now, I get why that comment can fall on deaf ears. Because we've seen this time and time again when it ends up being that person. But that doesn't mean that's the case with everyone. I am taking the family side that Jack D has nothing to do with this. And it is truly ridiculous conspiracies. To prove how fast this speculation can go, let's take the lawsuit for example. This TikToker, acting like she can read all these tarot cards, she pointed the finger to a professor at the university. The professor turns around and sues her. But when she pointed the finger at the professor, other people believed that. Other people believed what this TikTok sleuth, as many would call her, they actually believed what she said, and they literally went after the professor. That's how these people operate. I don't understand why, if they want justice, that they would want to go and make threats. But that's what happens when you throw people's names out there. And so, if you think about that lawsuit and how quickly that lady had to defend herself, good for her for defending herself. Because many people would try to just let it go away without even saying anything. This is the first time we're hearing from Jack's side. I hear people say, why isn't Jack speaking up himself? Why would he? Whatever he says, you're going to twist. Whatever he says, you're going to twist until there's a killer. And then when there is one, when the killer's caught, you're going to all say, well, it looked like it was him, so, and defend yourself. Why bother? Why bother? And so Aunt Miller, she dismissed all this speculation as ridiculous conspiracies. In her mind, they believe without a shadow of a doubt that Jack has nothing to do with this. And she said that Jack is struggling with the thought of returning to the university. I definitely would not be returning for a little while, so I don't blame him for struggling. And she says that it's hard for him to think about going back to Moscow because his life there was very involved with Kaylee's. Now, Aunt Miller's also the one that set up the Give, Send, Go fundraiser to collect $20,000 to help the Gonsalves family fund a private investigator and legal team to help solve the case. Now, we do know that they did hire an attorney, and he's right away going to work. And they're trying to get more information. From my understanding, each family member has a liaison who is supposed to keep them connected to the case in whatever little way that they can share. But truth is, the last thing that this family, that the community, that people want is that this case becomes a cold case. That is the last thing. As one of the former tenants, he shares that this home was a creaky old property. And so he was suggesting that the victims may have heard the killer enter the house because every footstep can be heard in this creaky old property. And each floor, as we know, has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. There's a first floor, second floor, third floor. Alternator, who graduated in 2022, he lived in a bedroom on the second floor of the house, directly above one of the first floor bedrooms. And he described this past Friday how tenants could hear footsteps resonate throughout virtually every part of the house. So that's why he feels like, someone should have heard something, basically. And he even added to ABC News, you can't walk up any of the stairs or any of the floors without everybody in the house knowing it. Which actually is a bombshell if you think about it, because that is big. Out of 6 people, there's no way that the killer just started killing one by one and got through 4 before no one heard anything. My guess is there was movement during one, and then that movement is what led to where they were found. We don't know that information either. But if you got in through the sliding door on the second floor, you should be able to hear some creaking through the home. But at the same time, this was very well known to be a party home. So if the girls in the first floor hear anything upstairs, they're thinking, well, someone else is over to party, or someone else is over to meet someone else, right? It's not out of the ordinary. There's so many theories that can be placed around this. I'm just theorizing myself at this moment as to what could have played out in this particular thing. I like how someone shared in the comments a while ago they like theories. Theories are good to help, but when you're pointing fingers is where the theories go too far. When you're publicly pointing fingers, should I say. But the former tenant, he said that he and his roommates were used to the noises and eventually learned to tune them out, which could very well be the case here. Because you're talking about moving in June 5th, and you're talking about this happening on November 13th. That's plenty of time to get used to stuff. Which makes sense. And then you have to ask yourself, who could be capable of doing such a thing, right? Excuse me. Swallowed spit there. Now, excuse me. An ex-FBI agent who I've been following on Twitter quite a bit, she believes that the University of Idaho mass murderer could be an incel with perverted anger towards women. And he believes that the killer came to a boiling point. As this is her theory because we don't really know. She is an ex-FBI agent. She would know how to think and look from side of things, right? And she believes that this bloody incident of 4 university students could be a case of femicide, with 3 of the victims being a woman. Which totally makes sense. Ethan was there spending the night. Did the perp know that Ethan was there? We don't know that answer either. At all. And so now that we're 6 weeks into this, now 6 weeks and 1 day, this literally has rocked the whole town. So former FBI agent Jennifer Coffendorfer, she claims that the investigators will be looking at everyone associated with each victim, but believes that could be a very outlying individual because of the lack of an arrest. And so that's what she is sharing. But she also believes that the killer could have built up anger against one or more of the slain students, but added that her main theory is that the killer is someone with perverted thoughts and anger toward women. And she shares that involuntary celibates or incels, they are part of a misogynistic subculture on shady online forums where users exchange fantasies about RAPE and mass incidents like this. And so she was speaking to Newsweek, and she said they're known as incels, who has watched this house, who is seeing all of these beautiful girls go in and out, and their rage and their own personal horrific desires they realized that night. That's what she's sharing. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Could it be? Okay, I'm going to respect her thoughts, number one, because she is an ex-FBI agent. She's been at this for a while, right? So I definitely am going to respect her thoughts. I've not personally thought of that, but it makes sense because this is a house full of women. All women lived there that were on the lease. They were all women. There were no males that lived there. Ethan was spending the night with his girlfriend, Xana. And so this is a house full of women. And she said that somebody still in that area, somebody that has seen these beautiful girls, because only girls live there, right? An individual with absolutely horrible murderous desires about these women, a femicide type case. And it came to a boiling point combined with an opportunity. Now, femicide can be split into two categories, intimate and non-intimate, with the former relating to the killing of women by current or former partners. That very well could be why people are thinking about Jack D. Again, I don't think Jack D has anything to do with this. Straight up, I'm saying that. I do not think that. Now, non-intimate, that means that the killing of women by people who they were not close with, right? And Coffendorfer, she was adding that the killer may have been someone who knew the victims very loosely, watched them around campus, saw them, maybe has been to the house, I'm theorizing, maybe has been to the house with someone else who attended the party, right? Because we know that the girls, they partied there as well. This was known as a party house. And Jennifer Coffendorfer, she continued, in other words, the people there might not even know him other than he was around at the peripheral, but somebody who would have gone unnoticed. That's what she is sharing. She continues, so you have a perfect storm that night, and this person familiar with the house, familiar with when they came and left, and familiar with that area to be able to leave quickly, familiar with the tree line of where they could have surveilled the house and seen the lights go on and off, and so on and so forth. That's what Jennifer Coffendorfer shared. And she believes that the person who killed the students had issues in and of themselves that they've acted on. And so the former agent justified her point by pointing to the murder of Michelle Martinko, who was killed in 1979 when she was 18 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's how she was given an example of what could possibly happen. You see, her killer, Jerry Burns, was arrested in 2018 and was not a close acquaintance with the case being solved by DNA. And so that's interesting in and of itself. The new theories that come as the ex-boyfriend of a victim in this incident is heartbroken that half of America thinks he slaughtered the love of his life and 3 of her friends. That's what a relative has shared. Again, Jack D has not spoken out yet, I don't think. Now, this kind of goes along with Kaylee breaking up with Jack just 3 weeks before this incident, which has baffled the whole world right now. Jack D, again, he was ruled out, literally. And so everyone's just pointing him because of reasons like that. When they break up 3 weeks before this incident, yeah, that would make sense. But if he's been ruled out, I get it. I totally get it, because even myself, I have my doubts on things. I just don't think that Jack D has anything. Maybe I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt because I know that this doesn't happen every single time, right? And so it still is a heartbreaking thing that here he is having to deal with someone who he dated for a while, had a very strong relationship with, and now he's having to hide and stay away from the public, not go back to school because people are pointing fingers at him. Which doesn't make them, I don't understand it. I get why you might think that, but at the same time, I don't think that we should just be pointing fingers. I think we should be very careful who we're pointing fingers at. Wouldn't you agree with that? Hey, just like you, I want justice. You see Chief Fry here, he wants justice too. His heart is breaking. And if you know something, please say something. Please say something, because I know that there's a public outcry over the lack of results in this investigation, and Chief Fry promises it will not get cold, which tells me they have more than we know. They're up to 15,000 tips? 15,000 probably? Something along those lines? But when and why have they not found more on this white car? That part baffles me as well. It could be hiding in a garage somewhere. It literally could be hiding in a garage somewhere. We don't know. It could literally be something that has been burned by now and no one knows about it. It could be so many different things, but my guess is there's a lot more video footage than we know of. There's a lot more things about this than we know of. Though they haven't named any person of interest or a suspect, I do believe they have someone on their radar. But I think that when they say that they need this car because there's critical information, I'm buying that story. I'm buying that there is critical information about this car. My friends, at the end of the day, we all want justice. Let's try to get it in a respectful manner. And I like that we are pushing for answers because that makes the cops stay on top of it. And no one's pushing for answers more than the parents and the family members because they want justice. Many of them are saying that they trust the cops. They do believe that the cops will solve this. That's what they are sharing about this. They do believe that the cops will solve this. Do you think that the cops will solve this? Let me know in the comments if you think this will be solved or will become a cold case. I personally believe it will be solved. I just don't know when. I do believe it's before it goes cold, right? That makes sense to me. What about to you? Do you think this will become a cold case? I guess we'll wait and see. But, at the end of the day, we can only wait till we find out more. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez, and the whole purpose of this is to keep you updated and be a voice for the victims. Because now they need as many voices to be heard because we need justice for Idaho 4. Hashtag justice for Idaho 4. That justice for Gabby went viral. This needs to go viral because I'm not seeing a lot of justice for Idaho 4 out there. And I truly believe this cannot go cold. And I don't think it will. If this is the type of content you like to follow, hit that subscribe button, click on that like, and hit that notification bell. That way you get notified whenever I go live or I share content that you may want to keep following. My friends, at the end of the day, again, this is not about me. This is about getting justice for Idaho 4 because they deserve justice. What is your take on this? What is your take on this heinous, heinous crime? I appreciate all the comments. I will dive into some of those comments now. And if you're tuning in late, I will cut this up and edit it so that all the comments are not here. And so one person believes that this will be going cold. And a lot of people seem like it's going cold. Did the cops solve the Memphis 3? Or were they just out of range? Great comments here. This case is messy. Ava, I agree with you. Yes. Again, let's watch what we're sharing because I do get that, but that doesn't, I saw where he had a knife and the pictures there. You guys are sharing some great things. Somebody could have had a relationship with a married person. Married person took it more seriously. You must follow a lot of true crime stories. I'm with you on this. Not justice, but justice. Yes, I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot of comments. It's hard to. Well, it looks like they're on their way to solving that case. Out of range, Mike. Thank you. Not. Let's see. I'm just trying to share some more. This is cold as the inside of a refrigerator. Coconuts, I hope not. I hope this does not get to that point, because I appreciate this. I appreciate what you guys are sharing. And, at the end of the day, from what I can gather from a lot of these, is that a lot of us we want justice. We want justice. And a lot of us, I'm curious as to why you stay involved. What is it, what keeps you so in tuned with this story? Let me know in the comments what keeps you so in tuned to this story. Because to me, number one, the fact that they have not shared much, and this is one of the most prolific crimes I've seen. I'm following stories every day. I'm looking for seeing what's out there in the true crime world, and not as many eyeballs are attached to other ones as it is for this one. And I think a lot of it is this is a very I don't even know how to describe it. This story is one of those, it's a surreal is the best way I can describe this, because I even keep like, is this real? Could this really have happened to 4 young students? And I follow a lot of true crime stories, and truth is, yeah, there have been others. There have been unsolved cases. There have been cases that took 40, 50, 60 years to be solved. With DNA advancement, with technology advancement, whoever did this, which I do believe was an act of passion, that's my thought on it, I believe the person will get caught. And I hope sooner than later. When Kaylee asked Maddie what she said to Adam, we can hear it while they're walking on the sidewalk, but nothing was said after that. I think that there was more said. We just don't have that video or audio to that. That's my thought on that. And that's a good point there as well. Thank you so much for all the comments. I would love to keep it going. I'm still learning what you guys like and what you want. Do you want me to stay on and keep going back and forth with the comments? Or most of you, I believe, just want your content and don't need to hear my theories and thoughts on it. So I'm trying to feed everybody. I love engagement, right? I don't go live just to, I go live to engage, to share. And I'm trying to do it in the best possible way that we can all follow and be at peace with. And Professor Schofield is a woman. So, and Mr. Nimstadonics, I'm not going to put that up there, but I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess that has not happened. Thank you, Ava. I really appreciate those comments. And I get a lot of positive ones. Of course, I'm going to get negative ones. I don't think you could be the most positive YouTube channel ever and you'll still get a bunch of that. And so, Robin, I like that. I truly believe that this case is getting warmer. I think that's the best way to say that. Because at the beginning, we know nothing, little by little. But really, it's about them putting together a case that can get the right person behind bars, not for us to determine who that person is. And so at the end of the day, we want to know what happened, why it happened, and let's get justice for these 4 young people. And thank you so much for everyone who joined me live and sharing your comments. I am working on just getting better and better at all of this. And so at the end of the day, I just want justice for these young kids who were taken from this world way too soon. And I believe that we all do that, right? So, the taxi driver spoke out. He says that no red flags on the way to dropping them off. And truth is, I believe the driver, and he said that he knew that the cops would be calling him, so he called them. And they already said, we know that you gave them a ride home. He turned over his GPS. I didn't share that the last time about the taxi driver, but he did turn over everything. And boom, he was on that. And so, at the end of the day, let's just get justice. My friends, if you are a person of prayer, please pray for these 4 kids that they get the justice they so deserve. None of this is okay. I don't care what they were doing in their personal lives. I don't know them personally. What I do know is someone took 4 innocent lives, and now we want justice for those 4 young kids. Young adults, young kids, both. Couple of them were 20, couple of them were 21. 2 of them were of legal age to drink and stuff like that, and 2 of them were not, but we know that they all were having fun on a regular basis, as sorority and fraternity kids do. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you so much. I just kind of want to stay on here all the time and just keep, engaging with you guys. And I know that, that not everyone wants that. So I'm figuring it out myself, my friends, because one thing I've learned is they don't want to go back to watch an hour-long video. They right now, a lot of people like to stay tuned in, but a lot of them don't want to go back and watch an hour video, which is also why I'm going to edit it and break it up so into each story that I've shared in this live. My friends, I appreciate you. Anything that you can share with the detectives, with Moscow police, please, 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 we want justice. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Let me get off here before I just keep going on reading those comments and getting caught up with you guys, because you truly are an amazing group of people. And sounds like your hearts are in the right place. You want justice for these 4 innocent teenagers. Let's pray for them. And have a great day. Happy holidays, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. Peace.